Another one bites the dust. Keir Starmer just can't help himself, and the Labour Party have smelt blood and they can't stop, even though their main target has been the left. An authoritarian is an authoritarian at the end of the day, and Labour have now set their sights on a centrist. Compass chief says he faces Labour expulsion and attacks party tyranny. Centre-left, well, centrist, I would probably say. Pressure Group's Neil Lawson says under Keir Starmer, a clique is behaving like playground bullies. Last Friday, an email from the Labour Party, of which I've been a member for 44 years, broke my political heart. They wrote coldly to tell me that back in May 2021, I committed a crime, retweeting a Lib Dem MP's call for some voters to back Green candidates in local elections, accompanied by my suggestion that such cross-party cooperation represented grown-up progressive politics. My punishment? Expulsion. That's right, Lawson was the head of Compass, hardly the socialist campaign group, and has been expelled for ridiculous reasons. Now, why would Labour do this? I thought their mission was to extradite the left. Why would this person be a target? As I mentioned earlier, if you're going to act like Stalin, like an authoritarian, then that's a mindset. It may start out on a particular group, but it always spreads. That's how dictatorships often operate. I guess those who didn't speak up, and I haven't seen anyone from Compass or Lawson himself mention about the left, or rather the thousands of members being expelled for the same reasons, but I'm sure he's woken up to the reality that is the current Labour Party. Lawson continues, the reason is that the party machine is no longer run in the long and rich spirit of pluralism. It has been captured by a clique who see only true believers or sworn enemies. They are behaving like playground bullies, using people's desperation to get rid of the Tories and the limitations of the voting system for their own factional ends. All this is fast amounting to an abusive relationship in which first past the post gives members no realistic alternative party to leave for, and the voters nowhere else to put their cross. Now, this is obviously completely correct, right? But we have a slight contradiction here. Labour is basically telling the whole of the left to piss off, that they're not welcome in politics, yet at the same time, they expect the left to vote for them. Otherwise, they're Tory enablers. Now, note, it was all fine when it was under General Secretary Ian McNicol, who barred members for voting in leadership elections, specifically 2015 and 2016, for simply liking tweets, because, that was just the left, so who cares? But this sort of behaviour, going beyond the left, will be a huge mistake for Starmer, because he's just making more enemies, right? Which is funny, because remember when the media and the Labour right accused Corbyn of being a Stalinist, running the party as a clique, which couldn't be further from the truth, because actually he wanted to instill more democracy into the party. But I wonder if they'll reflect. I wonder, now seeing what an actual Stalinist party looks like, maybe they'll change their minds. Nah, I doubt it. Now, a Labour spokesman said this isn't true. It was entirely false for Lawson to claim he had been expelled. They said he'd been sent a letter that put to him allegations that he expressed support for another political party, and he was given 2 weeks to respond. Well, what's he going to say? I mean, yeah, I retweeted a tweet that talked about a progressive alliance, to which they say, okay, well, you're expelled because you supported another party. So it's de facto expulsion anyway. Now, to me, that's not grounds for expulsion. It's not like they openly said people should vote for Boris Johnson over Jeremy Corbyn in a national election, because that would be bad. In fact, that's what some on the Labour right did. No, the context here is that a Labour candidate couldn't win, or probably couldn't win. Therefore, a vote for the Greens is probably better in order to kick out the Tories from local government, which is good for Labour. Now, if this was such an issue, then why has Labour readmitted Luciana Berger, Angela Smith, and Mike Milk Gates back into the party when they literally stood as another parliamentary candidate at the last election? They ran for the Lib Dems. That's all fine, right? It's almost as if Lotto is picking and choosing the rules in regards to who they think will give him the most loyalty. And it shows just how desperate Starmer is, that he sees centre-left, or rather centrist figures, as a threat. And what you've got to remember, Starmer isn't a centrist or a moderate. He's very much firmly on the Labour right. I mean, in general, he's pretty right-wing. And if you don't think that, then I genuinely don't know what else to tell you. But he's brought all of this on himself, because that's the way he's running the party. And the more extreme he becomes, the more trouble he'll find himself in. He may win the next general election, but if he continues this way, he will do a terrible job governing.